The Philippines spends 3.3% of GDP, or total wealth, on social security. Dr. Ofrenio wants that to double.
As a starting point, set aside 6% and you can have a universal health, a universal social security system. Of course, we have a long way to go before we reach the 30% GDP level that exists in some European countries.
The government says that's ambitious.
We are not spending 6% of the GDP on social protection because we need to spend for other things, such as debt repayment, such as national defense, such as infrastructure, and many other things. And our financial managers at the moment, I think, are trying their best to increase the spending on social protection. I will be the first one to be happy if they could do that.
So how is the Philippines doing compared to its neighbours? The Asian Development Bank has compiled a league table ranking nations according to how much social protection they're giving to people who need it. Prosperous Japan comes first, providing 86% with a safety net. The average is 35%. The Philippines provides for 33%, but scores much better than Pakistan on just 7%. But should Asian countries eliminate poverty through social protection, even if they could afford it?
Personally, I would take the rather unpopular view that we should allow poverty and inequality. So I don't want subsidy. I want work, real productive work where I can be useful to society. It may be a low-paying work, but at least it's still work. The Asian economies really thrive mainly on capitalism, dynamic competitive capitalism.
And there's no doubt that raw entrepreneurialism does thrive amidst poverty, even if it's two boys fishing rubbish out of a filthy creek to sell. The creek used as a sewer.
You need to strike a balance between protecting people and making them dependent on the benefits that you provide. That is a big problem, but that is something that has to be confronted. We are not at that point at all. And I think that that is a problem that I will take whenever that problem comes up.
In San Isidro, Antonia Imbag returns for another checkup. The doctor tells him he's on the mend. He reckons the public health care he received will help him stand on his own 2 feet.
Once I get better, maybe that's the time when I can go back to work again, and perhaps we can rise and overcome our problems as a family.
And there is good news too for Jenilyn. She got a temporary contract with a textile firm. She'll be able to support her children and parents, but only for the next 5 months.
I feel very happy. Today is my lucky day. I must be very lucky today because it's very difficult to find a job most days.
But Juna has now given up looking for a factory job in Cavite. At 37, she's way over the age limit. With barely enough money for daily survival, she lives with very little hope.
Nag-a-apply ho ako doon sa sa EPSA. Kaso in-applyan ko talaga sila yung ang hinahanap nila bata.
And she fears her children will get nowhere as well.
Gusto niya talaga sana nursing, sabi ko hindi natin kaya talaga kasi ang nursing pangmayaman lang yun, di ba? Kasi kung wala kang sabi niya, sige, kung hindi, di wala. Wala naman akong magagawa kasi nga nakita niyang wala na akong trabaho.
Advocates for social security have argued that everyone should receive a minimum living income as an investment to help poor families climb the social ladder. That view is heresy for their opponents, who believe it would plunge emerging Asian countries into debt, like the crisis-racked West.
They in fact are among the most indebted countries in the world because of their very expensive welfare program. frugality, saving is a virtue, whereas expensive overspending and expensive welfare or whatsoever policy is not a virtue. It is a vice that Asian people, the Asian government are trying to veer away from.
But it's the hungry who feel the full force of the global economic crisis. And the question remains, is social security the only hope of protecting them?
It is time to rethink about this program, Social Security for All. But the Social Security for All should be seen as an instrument not only to solve but prevent future global financial crises.